they are doing things which are making them take steps backward, it doesn't matter the number of years you've been there. Hello guys, so trading is one of those fields where you can be here for a very long time but still struggle in almost any way possible. And in today's video, I want to address those types of traders who, according to them, they think they've put in the work for a long time. You've been here for a number of years, but nothing seems to click, or you just can't find that consistency in terms of profitability in the market. And at some point, it starts to get frustrating because years are passing and you're seeing other traders online profitable and yourself, you're still struggling. I can't tell you how many times I come across someone online, maybe on X or just any social media platform, who says something like they have been trading for a long time, 3, 4, 5 years, and they're still not profitable. And they're very frustrated to the point where some of them usually make conclusions like trading doesn't work, it's impossible for you to find an edge in the markets, you can never win in the markets. And some of them have that strong belief that anyone who's actually showcasing to be profitable online is actually lying. And it's very hard to convince such people because they're arguing out their case in a very strong way, because these guys have their own experience. Imagine being in this industry for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. You've been investing your time year after year. You probably have tried joining different mentorships. Most importantly, you've been investing your money. Maybe you get your savings, you put it into trading. You get some money from any other source, you put into trading with the hope that at some point you'll become profitable. Then after all those years, whatever number of years it is, you're still unprofitable. You can actually get convinced that it's indeed impossible for you to become a profitable trader. And in my own opinion, I think that is one of the worst places to get, where you've watched every YouTube video, you think you've tried everyone's trading concept or strategy, but nothing just seems to be working. At first, I'll just tell you, you shouldn't be discouraged. I mean, I'm a very good example of someone who 3 years into trading, I was making absolutely zero money. So for 1, 2, 3 years, I think almost even 3.5 years in trading, I was doing strategy hopping, trying out different things, joined signals, tried to buy bots. I tried anything you can think of. During this time, I also tried watching almost every YouTuber I knew, every concept that existed online back then. I tried to watch almost every video. But when you go to the markets month after month after month for a whole 3-year period, you're not making any money and you can't even see that progress. But you see, eventually 7 years in trading, and I was able to turn that around and become profitable now consistently for a number of years. Guys, so this is my real trading account. You can be able to see that. I hope it shows on the screen. The same account reflects on my MT5. You can confirm the same balance. Many beginner traders, or even let's say you're not a beginner, you're a trader who has the skill, usually there is a capital problem. And the truth is, having the skill alone is not enough if you are trading with very, very small funds on your live account, right? I just need 1 minute of your time to explain to you something you might need. It will help you to start small on your live account, but then grow that capital, and you can trade confidently over the long period of time. For example, you deposit $50 on your live trading account and it gets doubled up to $100. And if you deposit up to $100, not only do you get it double, meaning $200, but you also get an extra 60% bonus. And of course, I can imagine that will help you out in your trading. You can now trade more confidently, use slightly bigger lot sizes, and also increase the potential returns you can make on your trading. All this is possible using the FBS markets, which is a global trading company. It's been existing for over 15 plus years in over 150 countries. And of course, I will only trade with a company which is licensed. So this firm is licensed and regulated, meaning you should have a smooth trading experience with them, be it the market conditions, the deposit, the withdrawals. The payment methods are different. We do have the bank payment, cryptocurrency, instant withdrawals as well. And of course, not forgetting, they also have e-wallets. They do have different account types. Of course, you can see this is a real account, but as usual, you can still open a demo account for just testing and trying if that's what you're looking for before you can get that confidence to deposit now in your real account. The leverage can go up to 1:3,000. Yes, you had that right. So if I click there, you can see this is the maximum leverage that I can get on this FBS market. You do have an Islamic or a swap-free account. Now, if you're a trader who wants to learn at the same time, we have analytics and educational platform here. They do have the FBS Academy. You can be able to follow up and get that information in regards to the market, especially if you're a beginner and you're completely green. You've just opened your first account but you're not so sure what you're doing. And then with this academy, you are able to at least get that basics first, get that information and get your foot going. The trading conditions look nice. As I've shown you, I'm here logged in on my live account right now. This is the market of gold. I don't trade gold, but I'm just showing you the spread so that you can see. And maybe I'll just take one live trade right now to show you the smooth execution. So here's a trade on USD JPY. I'm just taking this to test the account and show you the execution. We'll click on the buy right now and you can see the order has already been filled. So execution is also quite smooth, nice trading conditions. And that's what you want to look for as a trader. You can also come and close the trade at any point in time. So let's just click on the close and you can see as well the order has been closed immediately. Now to make this process easier, you do have the FBS app. Just go on your Play Store or your App Store, search for FBS, there it is, and you can download. So you can see FBS has over 10 million downloads. Just make sure you're going for the right app. And once you click there, it will be able to install on your phone to make your trading process even smoother. We also have different account types. If you're a beginner, there's an account called a cent account. If you just want to trade generally, you still have the normal standard account. We also do have the pro account. And of course, we have the ECN for zero spread or high frequency traders. The minimum deposit is as low as $5, meaning with just $5 you can start trading on your live account. And we do have a wide variety of trading instruments. I mean, this is a very important part as well, because I know most of us trade very different markets. So whether it's forex, metals, energy, stocks, indices, and even cryptocurrencies, FBS offers all these instruments. And of course, you can trade using the normal MetaTrader 4, that is MT4, MT5, or the FBS trading app, which I've shown you how to download. So if it's your first time, how do you get started? It's simple. Go to the FBS website. I will have the links in the video description. Verify your account if you're a first-time user. Then you can choose your deposit method. Remember, as little as $5 you can start. The next step is you'll enter the promo RIC10, which is showing on your screen right now. And just like that, you can be able to claim your bonus and start trading. So you don't want to be left behind. Grab your account today. Take advantage of the bonus and trade wisely. Otherwise, let's get back into the video. So in today's video, I just want to tell you, if you're that type of person who has struggled so much to a point where you think trading doesn't even work, trust you me, as someone who has been there, there is probably a few things you are doing wrong. Trading is one of those fields where it doesn't matter the number of years you've been there. So you saying that I've been trading for 5 years, 6 years, whatever number you want to mention, even 10 years, that is just a number at the end of the day. What matters is the steps you've been putting in during this time. And some people are here for a very long time, but they're using the wrong approaches. They're doing things which are making them take steps backwards instead of moving forward. Some of them are doing it knowingly, meaning maybe you might hear profitable traders telling you the direction to take, but you just choose to ignore and do your own things. Some of them are doing it unknowingly, so you might find someone who, according to them, they think they're doing what is right. But unfortunately, if you sit down with an experienced trader, they'll be able to easily pinpoint and tell you some of the things you need to change, and you'll discover you can actually turn around your trading from losing to profitable. So here are some of the things you're probably doing wrong, and as long as you can fix these things, it's inevitable that at some point you'll get profitable in trading. And a proven system is just basically a strategy that you use in the market that you've been able to test enough, and you've also understood it very, very well over the years, and you found proof that using long-term data, as long as I followed this strategy for the last 3, 4, 5 years, there is proof that the P&L curve is usually positive. You see many traders who claim they're struggling with forex or trading generally. If you just sit down with them and tell them, show me your data for the last 3, 4 years, a lot of them cannot show you any solid data. And some of them who can show you the data, it's maybe just some random numbers. And if you dig deeper and try to redo the data collection with them, you will easily identify the things that they were doing wrong in the process. Like I've told you guys many times, you might find that you're backtesting trade that you can't take in real time. So you go and backtest a trade at 1 a.m. and you know in the real time, you won't be able to take trades at that time. Or you want to backtest trades that are happening just 1 minute before news. Then real time when the news is coming, that trade moves your direction so fast within microseconds and you can't even catch it. So my point is, usually these types of traders either have no data at all, they have nothing solid they're using in terms of a system in the market. And for those who have a system, or those who think they have a system, it's not a proven system. So you've just watched some guys on YouTube, you've watched some trendline strategy, support resistance, ICT concept, whatever it is. And the video you watch on YouTube was maybe written 90% win rate strategy. So according to you, because you've learned that video on YouTube, you think you can just go on your account and try to practice. So when most people tell you, I've learned so many strategies on YouTube and I'm still not profitable, profitable. Actually, what they usually mean is they just watched a video and they tried to copy whatever they learned from the video. While this is the thing, if you want to learn even from someone online, from a free resource, YouTube, whether it's my strategy or anyone else out there, apart from just watching the video, you still need to go back into your trading view or your platform that you use to backtest, test it for many years, look at it, try to personalize it, understand it very, very well. So guys just watch someone on YouTube, they don't even test it whether it works or not, they don't even try to see how well they've understood it, and immediately they rush on their account, then they'll claim that they've tried out many strategies and they just don't work. So most struggling traders who've been here for a long time remain in that cycle because they lack a proven system in the market. A proven system will not only tell you when to enter the trade, but it will clearly define the conditions that you must see before the setup is valid. It will clearly tell you the bad conditions which you should avoid trading. It will tell you where you should put your stop loss, whether it's a fixed stop loss or whether your stop loss is based on the structure or key levels. That system should be able to define all these things, and you should be able to test it and prove that it's been making money long term for the last few years. So you don't have that, but you claim that you've been struggling in trading. Clearly that is the problem that you need to start fixing. The second thing you're probably doing wrong is lack of backtesting. Of course, it's in relation to the first point that I've already said, you don't have a system, but in this case I want to go a little deeper. You see, what most people don't know is backtesting opens up your eyes a lot. The more you replay your market and candles for the last number of years, there are a couple of things that happen to you. Number one, you start to understand that market more in depth. You start to see things that other people are not seeing. That's why every time you watch someone's strategy, you might realize you always learn something new. So ask yourself why you might watch my strategy on maybe support and resistance, but even you understand support and resistance, but there's a reason why after watching my video you still figure out you've spotted something new in terms of how I look at that market. It's because I tested it more than you have. So the more I test it, the more I start to identify some patterns that happen in that market, the more I start to identify some common behaviors which help me to know these levels are better to take trades than others. So data collection, apart from just building a strategy, it really helps you to familiarize with that market, to understand it in depth, and most importantly, it boosts your confidence like crazy. So most of these issues where you're struggling with a lot of emotions in the market, sometimes it's just because you don't collect data. So when you go to the market and you have a 2 or 3 trade losing streak, you start to get confused, you start doing strategy hopping, you say the strategy doesn't work anymore just because you've lost for 1 week. While had you collected data often, it would have been very easier for you to know it's not unusual for me to have a 1 week losing streak in the market based on this strategy, but eventually it still recovers. So the more you collect data, the more you are able to fix some of these small psychological and mental issues you might go through in the market. So generally what backtesting does is that it allows you to experience the market conditions, both the good ones and the bad ones, before getting into the real market. So like for me, I've told you guys many times, in my system I expect in a year to have maybe 1 or 2 losing months, sometimes 1 break-even month. So it's not unusual for my system out of 12 months to only be profitable for 8 months or 9 months, then have the rest months as maybe losing months or break even, but still the P&L curve is positive. But how did I know these things? I knew them because I do constant data collection. So there are many traders who usually argue backtesting is useless, and they tell you you just need to do forward testing and you'll be able to understand how your system works. They tell you test using the real market conditions. So am I going to test out my market for the next 12 months for me to understand how the highs and the lows look like, for me to understand the market conditions? We're in 2025, guys. The easiest thing for you to do is take up that backtesting software, look at the past 3 to 4, 5 years. I always recommend you focus on the most recent years. Don't go and backtest a market back in, I don't know, 2005 or something. Try to focus on what the market has been doing as recently as possible. So you see, because I already have my data, when I go to the markets and I find myself having 2 losing months, it won't be anything unusual. You won't find me frustrated. You won't find me taking a break from trading because I don't know, I've been in a losing streak. I'll know that this is something very usual based on my system and I just need to keep executing. So if you're a trader who doesn't backtest often, you don't collect data, you might stay here for years and years and years and you'll never be able to find consistency with any system. Whatever system you try to apply, whatever concept you try to apply, you'll always struggle. It will always be constant back and forth. And I'm still a huge believer of forward testing, but I think you should only do forward testing after back testing to avoid just wasting time. But if you still feel like forward testing is the way for you and you don't want to collect data using the past market, well and good. You go and trade for the next 1 year just to understand where you should put your stop loss. I think that's something, if I test my market for the last 5 years using a backtesting software, which is something I can test out within maximum a week, I'll have already identified the best level to put my stop loss in this market. But if you forward test, you have to discover real time, day by day. So how long will it take you for you to forward test and collect enough data so that you can determine this is how I'm trading and this is what I'm avoiding to trade? In my own opinion, I still think backtesting plays a key role. Then you can couple it up with forward testing. Now now real time in the markets. The third thing you've probably been doing wrong is lack of a journal. Now, journaling is one of the things which is overlooked by many traders, especially struggling traders actually. And the question you need to ask yourself is simple. You have to treat your trading as a business. So if you had a business right now, would you run it without caring to know the actual figures in terms of operation? You'd want to understand your operational costs. If you bought some goods or services, you'd want to understand how much have I spent to buy, and if I've been selling, what percentage have I sold out, what has been paid, do some of my customers still owe me because maybe there's some debts to the business, do I have a loan, etc. It's all these things that enable you to understand how your business is progressing on a month-by-month basis, right? So why are you coming into trading and you don't want to track the performance of your trades? You don't want to track your behaviors. There are some trades you probably took and you're the one who made errors. But since you're not tracking them, at the end of the month, you're just there sitting frustrated and saying, the markets were tough, it was a bad month for me. Instead of actually taking accountability and realizing the markets were not really that tough, it's you who didn't follow the system, then you made mistake 1, 2, or 3. Because with journaling, it helps you to become accountable and identify the loopholes, the errors. Then moving forward, it's easier for you to now say, as I go forward to the next month, I won't repeat this error that I did last month. And slowly, as you polish and eliminate those errors in your execution, your trading slowly shifts from you being a negative trader to a break-even trader and eventually a positive trader. So if you lack a journal, I don't care how long you trade, especially if you've never been profitable and you don't do journaling, you can continue trading for the next 1, 2 years, repeating the same errors in cycles, but you don't even know you are repeating the errors because according to you, you just think the markets are tough, it's a difficult season, things are not just working. So most of the guys who actually claim that they've been trading for long and things are not clicking, if you sit down with them and you start to scrutinize and look for all these specific things I'm mentioning, a huge number of them either don't have them, or those who have them are not doing it in the right way. Because it's impossible for you to constantly record the errors you're doing in your trading, go back test, look at those markets, then create a system which is profitable and proven, then tell me eventually you won't be able to make money in the markets. And even if you don't make money, then you'll just understand it's a problem of maybe your psychology, which is something that you need to fix slowly by slowly. But it won't be you going out there saying things like it's impossible to make money from trading. Because people who say such things, they've literally got to a point where they believe it's actually not possible to have a system that is profitable in the market. But anyone who's put in these right steps can't say such a thing. Because a simple data collection of just a number of years, refining it over and over, will quickly show you that we have many different systems which can be profitable. So now the next thing you need to do is to develop yourself as an individual to be that trader who can execute that system. Because they can give you a profitable system, but then you go to the market and you're indisciplined. If you're indisciplined, by default, you won't make money. But still, there are many things you can put in order in place, the same way I'm telling you in this video, which can assist you to turn from being that trader who is indisciplined to having a more stable psychology and being able to replicate your system in the market just as the data shows. The fourth thing you're probably doing wrong is you have poor risk management. Now, when you talk of risk management, most people think of things like, I don't know, risking 1%, don't risk too much. That is one aspect of risk management. But I look at risk management in 3 ways I think I've shared with you guys at some point before. And if your risk management doesn't involve these 3 things, then you are messed up in the market. So risk management is not just as simple as using a small lot size or using a risk that you're comfortable to lose. So here are the 3 aspects of risk management that you probably lack, because you must have all 3 of them. The first aspect of risk management is that where you risk what you're comfortable to lose. Something like 1% risk depending with your account, such that you don't want to be over risking. Risking what you're comfortable to lose allows you to be stable psychologically. So if you see your trade going to a loss, you're not so scared of losing because you already predetermined I'm okay losing this amount of money. You understand? That's the first aspect. Second aspect of risk management is using a consistent risk bracket. If you choose to be risking roughly 1 to 2%, make sure you're within that bracket for a long period of time. A mistake that traders do is today they risk 1%. The next day they see a setup, they get tempted to risk 5 or 10%. And this completely destroys the possibility of you having an edge in the market. Because having an edge means you are repeating the same thing over and over, taking the same types of setups with the same risk bracket. So if you take 2 trades with a 1% risk, then you make some money on it. Then on the third trade, you get greedy and you decide to risk now 10%. If you lose, you'll wipe out all the profit of these other 2 trades and even go back into a drawdown. But you see, if you continue using the same 1% risk, even if you go into some small loss, that loss won't wipe out the profit. So your P&L curve will be going upwards, takes a small dip, and then it continues to go upwards again. While guys who have inconsistent risk management, it also reflects in their P&L curve. So one day they are up, the other day they are down 2 times, the next day they are up a little bit, then they go back down again. So their P&L curve is not smooth at all. So make sure you're not quickly changing your risk over and over in every other trade. The third thing about your risk management is risk to reward ratio. You see, when you go into drawdowns, the thing that will save you 90% of the time is your risk to reward. There are times where you might go into drawdown and you get lucky and find maybe a 3-4 trade winning streak, which helps you to recover the drawdown. But you see, if you go into a drawdown of, let's say, 6% with a system like mine, you just need 2 winners to recover the whole drawdown. Why? Because of a nice risk to reward ratio. So part of developing your risk, you must factor in risk to reward ratio. You don't want to be using a system that gives you a 1:1. And I'm not saying it's not profitable, you can, but I'm just saying if you're someone who's been struggling for 5 years in the market, clearly you want to try as much as possible to have that upper hand in the market. And the only way you can get closer to that is having a system which when you lose very little, and when you gain 2, 3, 4 times. So try to incorporate a nice risk to reward ratio in your system and you'll definitely see nice results coming. So these 4 things I've mentioned in this video, which is basically no proven system, lack of backtesting, no journals, and poor risk management, is one of the reasons why you end up struggling with point number 5, which is basically psychology. So things like struggling with psychology in the market, emotions, are just derived from you lacking point number 1 to 4 systematically. If you have a proven system, it will become easy for you to be less emotional in the market because you have data to rely on. If you're emotional and you want to close your trade, you'll be remembering, based on my data, if I do this, I'll end up losing more. So let me just hold and respect my data. If you have nice risk management, meaning you're not over risking, even if your trade is going into loss, you won't be so tempted to close it every other time. You also won't be tempted to close your trade every time because you understand the importance of hitting that 1:3, 1:4 based on the data you've collected. If you do consistent journals, it will help you to be less emotional and more logical, because instead of just being there frustrated and saying the markets are tough and complaining, you'll be able to be logical, look at your journal and notice, okay, the markets are not actually bad, it's me who did this and this error. So let me stop being emotional and let me focus on improving on the error I did last month, because if I had not done that error, I would have made more money. So you come to understand that things like trading psychology, if you have these systems well, trading psychology, a huge part of it, 80 to 90% of it, will be taken care of just by having a nice proven system with data and doing consistent journals, plus having nice risk management. So I hope you've learned something in this video. If you've been trading for long and you're still struggling, try to look across everything I've talked about. There's at least 1 or 2 things you're doing wrong. Becoming profitable is a very complementary process, meaning if you have one thing in place but you don't have the other thing, it will still mess you up. If you have the right system but poor risk management, it will mess you up. If you have the right system, right risk management, but you hardly journal, it will still mess you up. So sometimes you're struggling, or you've been struggling for long because maybe you've got 3 out of 4 things right, but there's still one thing you're doing wrong. So you want to make sure you look at these things in detail and work on improving yourself overall as a trader. And this is why they say by the time you become a profitable trader, usually you will have developed yourself even as a person, because it takes a lot even internally for you to become that guy who was disciplined from being the guy who was indisciplined before, for you to become that guy who collects data from that lazy person before who couldn't collect data. It takes a lot of change internally, but once you get to this point, you become a better individual overall, and it also reflects in your behavior in the market. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys have learned something. Feel free to share your thoughts as well in the comment section. See you next time. Peace.